about we got to settle this debate for once and for all, because I think people that live in the 90s, they don't realize like how big and heavy those TVs were. So like this idea that's been floated around for 30 years that it's not a big deal for a TV to fall on your face. That
I
it's
was
so
still plugged in, by the way.
that's so easily survivable. Like, oh yeah, he'll be okay. That's a concussion. No, it's like, guys, you're thinking of our modern flat screen skinny TVs. Oh yeah, if that falls on your face, oh man, that hurts a little bit, but you get up and walk away. The TVs back then could be like 100 pounds falling on your face. It's a whole different thing. But people just like are like treat this Stu thing like it's like such a he can't be dead. Nick, you remember these TVs from the 90s?
Oh yeah, I remember them. In fact, at one point at my old apartment back in 2015 to 16, I had one of those TVs. It was like a big, it was like a 40 or 50-inch box TV that I plugged my Nintendo 64 in.
Okay.
And that thing was at least 60, 70 pounds.
Mm.
If not more, to be honest with you. Because remember, the big box TVs came with handles in the back that you carry, and those did not help you with a dick diddly doodah.
Right. Okay. There we go. Now, I mean, listen, forget TV fall on your face. There was an incident in the 90s where people were moving, and the process of moving, carrying one of those TVs, it dropped on their foot, and they died, right? They died.
When it hit their foot.
The TV was so heavy, it didn't just break their foot. It caused a chasmic collision and that traveled up their body to their spine and decapitated them, all right? That's how
decapitated them.
They at least have at least 3 times.
A dumb wound from Lethal Weapon.
In the 90s in Idaho, at least 3 times that happened, all right? So all that to say, listen, Stu is dead. He's deader than dead. Now, that said, let's get to the casting news because before that, let's go in chronological order. First thing, I don't think we touched on the fact that Mindy, we'll talk with that first. Mindy is coming back. Now,
so last time we talked about Scream 7, I remember you saying that Mindy originally said she was not coming back for Scream 7.
And now in hindsight, it might be one of those things where like maybe there was never a direct quote from her. Maybe it was just like implied that she's not coming back. Because if the core 4 was going to separate, it would probably be Tara and Sam going off and doing their own thing. But Chad and Mindy are brother and sister. They are going to be tied to the hip. So if Chad's coming back, Mindy's probably somewhere in the proximity.
I've just assumed, honestly, that at this point they would be adults. So I actually assumed that, Chad and Tara gave it a try. They broke up. Chad's now a cop and maybe got into the FBI because of Kirby and is now being sent to the new location due to, a Ghostface sighting. That just crossed my mind. I'm like, that makes a little more sense. I mean, he is immortal fighter guy, so why wouldn't he be a cop?
Well, how much of a time jump do you need for Chad to be a cop, though?
It depends on what type of cop. For FBI, it would have to be a significant jump, I would assume.
Because we also don't know if he finished college or he stayed in college after Scream 6.
To be fair, you don't need to finish college to be a cop.
No, but I'm saying if he wanted to stay in college, that's why we don't know. He could have dropped out of college and become a cop for sure. But there's also no evidence that he wanted to be a cop, so we don't know. Nothing in his character. It wasn't like he was hanging out with Carter being like, hey, what was the process? So we don't know. You could do it for convenience. The rumor online is that him and Mindy are podcasters, and somehow that's going to get them involved in the Sydney storyline.
So for Mindy, that makes sense because of how her character's been written, even though her character is bland as shit in the past 2 movies.
But you could definitely see her as a horror movie YouTuber or podcaster. Yeah. So,
but Chad, on the other hand, I feel like he would rather just wipe his hands of everything. Think about it. He's the one who in both movies, he got fatally stabbed in multiple. And the sixth one got stabbed 69 times, whereas in the fifth one, he was literally stabbed in his femoral artery. That man
Well,
has literally
well,
seen the light.
well, let's not get into his what happened to him in Scream 6 because that defied all logic and physics, the fact that he's still alive.
But
I kind of agree. I would think that he would want to go off somewhere and live a very
very
non
quiet life.
horror movie, non-public eye life because
Oh, he would have quit horror movies right then and there. He would never watch another horror movie again, being in two in a sense.
so Mindy also as a horror movie person should probably know that if she makes herself a public figure or involves herself with Sydney, she's probably going to make herself a target again. So I'm guessing they come back. If they come back in some way where before any new killings happen, they come back, that's fine. But if the killing's already happening, they come back. It does seem like they're putting themselves in danger again.
Not like I said, I've never liked the whole podcast angle. The only time the podcast angle actually was fine for me would have been Terrifier 3 because that girl was not actively going out looking for Art the Clown. But she just had Jonathan, and then randomly Sienna fell into her lap. So, of course, she's going to talk to them. But she didn't actually, not like the ones in Halloween that went out and literally tried to talk
Well,
to Michael
yeah,
Myers.
I don't mind either, but I wonder if it's becoming too much of a crutch, though. Like, it's fine and it's a product of our times because that kind of thing is big these days, right? But it doesn't mean you want to see like in every single horror movie that there's podcasters. It's like, this would be if they use it, yeah, this would be like Halloween franchise used it, Terrifier franchise used it, now Scream franchise used it. So if they use it, it's like okay, well, it's a convenient thing, but let's not overuse that where it keeps popping up in every franchise. Hopefully,
Don't overuse it. And for me, like I said, it would be fine if, say, they're not actively, like, say they're in a different town and the killings start. It'd be fine if they don't decide, hey, let's go to that town so we can get our podcast, get the extra views.
right?
Instead,
Well,
it's like you just sit there in the state you're in and talk about them then.
right, and this was the problem with Halloween too, to a degree. But I understand in Halloween they wanted to actively go to where Michael Myers was. But in terms of like say Mindy, for example, and Chad, in today's world, anybody knows about anything about podcasting knows that yes, you can do it from the comfort of your room because you can do something like this, and this is how it'd probably be done. If they're interviewing Sydney Prescott, they could do it like this. They don't have to show up to Sydney's small town and show up at her front door. That wouldn't be like a realistic depiction of how podcasting is these days.
Let's
So hopefully
face
they
it.
don't hopefully they don't ignore that. So
Let's face it. Sydney would not get on their podcast just for the fact she doesn't want that type of publicity. She does not want to
well the
associate with any of that.
rumor, and this is just a rumor. This is in no way confirmed. It's just what they're talking about. So we're just playing with the rumors here. But the rumors that for some reason they interview Sydney's daughter, who is like I guess the time jump or something. Her daughter's like 17, 18 years old now. So the rumor is they interview the daughter. Now, why would you interview Sydney's daughter? It doesn't really make sense to me. So I don't know how they're going to play that. But
it feels like
I
the
think
daughter would interview them because they've been in similar situations.
It's a crutch, but the thing is also like them being podcasters, it is the only way I can actually think of them bringing them back in the story because I don't see them randomly popping up in Sydney's town. So them being podcasters makes sense to me.
You know what they could do? Leave them alone.
Well,
Even though I do not agree with them being alive after part 6, leave them alone. Let them have their happy, life ending because then we can assume Chad and Tara got married. They all decided to live happily ever after, and the new Ghostface decides, you know what? They're too dangerous because Sam likes to chop people into little damn pieces.
Well, I fear it's a little bit too late for that. They have been cast. They're in the movie. We will see the continued adventures of Chad and Mindy. But I kind of agree. I kind of agree with. I don't even like at this point. Like, yeah, I don't even want to see Chad get attacked again. I don't need to see him get stabbed for a third movie in a row. Like, so it's like I don't want to see like there's no purpose in like having him actually have an encounter with Ghostface. So I'm like, you can use him and you can use Mindy, but we've seen them both get stabbed 2 movies in a row. Like, I don't really need to see Ghostface attack them again because what's the point? It's like I don't know, um, but okay. So that wasn't even the biggest casting stuff. Was not Mindy coming back. Um, the first bit of that news that was a little bit puzzling was the return of Scott Foley, who was Roman from Scream 3. Now,
So I hope they don't have him playing the same character for one reason. So people still argue that Stu is alive because he got his head crushed in and most likely his brain electrocuted by a TV.
hmm.
But we know for a fact Roman Bridger got a bullet to the damn head.
Oh, he's dead.
And according to the lore of what we're supposed to believe in these movies, the headshot is the 100% kill shot.
No,
You
he
think
has to be
maybe
dead.
it's just there as kind of a Easter egg type things, like, hey, look, we got this actor back.
He has to be dead because just to establish him being dead. Remember, not only did they come on that Scream 3, but like Detective Kincaid was there. There was no way that the body was not going to be accounted for. So he's definitely dead. Him playing a different character, no. He's definitely playing Roman. Now, I will go over some of the ideas being thrown out that most likely are what's going to happen. Because okay, Kevin Williamson is direct. He didn't write this movie; he's directing. But the Scream franchise is always trying to reinvent things or do new things or keep up with the times. We had the use of the phone call and caller ID in the first movie in 1996, which led to like a 70% increase in U.S. households having caller ID after Scream came out. So you have that. You have the voice changer in Scream 3, which I thought they thought they were being advanced about, but definitely was not a thing. So what's big today? What's big is AI, Chat GP, all that stuff, right? So do you know the term deepfakes? Have you heard of that?
Yeah, I've heard of deepfakes before.
Okay. So a new killer could come along. If he's targeting Sydney Prescott, how does he mess with her? Well, what if she gets a phone call from Roman? What if she gets a video from Roman, a deep fake Roman or an AI Roman voice? That's how you can use the dead characters. Is you're messing with Sydney's mind by all the past killers coming after her in AI form. It sounds like a lot, but and this is why we know this is probably true because now this is one possibility. Now, another possibility is a flashback. So, always used in movies from since the beginning of time, they've always been, especially in like series, you have flashbacks to earlier things, especially in the Saw movies. They always have flashbacks to earlier times. Okay,
We're
how to
getting
use
a
Roman?
flashback of Roman recruiting Billy and Stu to kill the mom,
Well,
and then
I
just being on the sidelines while watching them go rogue for Scream 1.
so you could do that, and you would use the de-aging technology to de-age the actors. Um, a good idea I saw, just because it'd be something different, is that the opening scene is just showing the death of Sydney's mom. Like it's a flashback back to the real time. We can see exactly how Stu and Billy killed her. Now, I don't know if Roman was actually around for that specific thing, like that night that they killed her. We know that at some point he met with Billy to give him the fuel basically to go and do the murder. But you could have that. You could have a flashback to that
Well,
scene of Roman talking to Billy. You could have him and Stu and Billy conspiring together.
there is
Some
one
kind of
other thing you could do with him. Because remember, he did say before he found Billy and Stu and talked to them about it, he
yeah.
did try to talk to Maureen Prescott. He tried to get a relationship going with her because he's like, "You're my mother. I'd like to get to know you."
Mhm.
and she told him pretty much to go screw off.
Mhm.
So you could also have that in the flashback as well.
And also in the flashback, you could establish, like, some other person was there. I mean, if you want to, like, have a killer in this new one that still somehow ties back with the past. Not to say they had another accomplice, but remember that there's still one person in this series that's sort of unaccounted for. Billy was either cheating with on Sydney or either before or after was with Tara and
Sarah and
Sam's
Sam's mom.
right. You could do a flashback where you show her that she was sort of in the background of that whole scenario, but maybe Billy never involved her truly. But I mean, you can do away with Sam and Tara, but if her mom hates, you could still bring her mom into the fold, technically, because she is separated from her daughters.
Honestly,
I don't know,
it
man.
would be a way to still have Sidney Prescott getting targeted again, but at the same time, without Sam or Tara to add in any kind of like emotional stake to it, it would make no sense to actually bring their mother into it.
If her mom was in love, if their mother was actually in love with Billy, she would probably hate Sidney Prescott. Maybe Sidney Prescott killed her high school sweetheart in her mind.
To be
I don't
fair,
know, but these
Sidney
are
Prescott killed her own high school sweetheart.
oh yeah, true. Um, so it depends. Basically, I mean, I'm sure they want to do like a new killer, but I mean, it's gonna be hard to establish new characters, have one of them be the killer, but then also have them a part of the cast because in whatever Sydney's role is right now, she's not gonna be letting new people into her life. Like she's not gonna have. I don't think she's gonna have some huge new friendship circle of potential killers. It's probably her hanging out with her daughters and her
So
husband.
what it probably will be is her one of her daughter's friends. If it's not Stu again, because
It's not. It is not Stu. He is
let's face
not coming
it,
back. He's
I
not
don't
coming back
want it
as
to
an alive
happen either.
character.
Let's face it, I don't want it to happen either. I'm pretty sure I have beaten this dead horse
It's
into
not
the
possible.
ground 10 feet under. But if it's not some kind of weird retcon to keep Stu alive, and it's not Stu, it's going to be one of the daughter's friends in high school.
I love, I love Matthew Lillard. I'm happy to see Stu in any form. But yeah, if the damn mask comes off and it's 50-year-old Matthew Lillard and he's like, I always had a thing for you, Sid. I'm not watching. I'm literally walking out the theater. I don't want to see it. I'm
So
not gonna be like, yeah. I'm gonna be like, no. You just jumped the shark big time. It
So
can't happen.
I will say with Matthew Lillard's announcement that he's coming back, he wrote down on the sheet saying, you know, my mom and dad is going to be so mad at me. What he should have wrote instead is I'll always come back or I'll always be back, something like that.
No, that'd be too spoilery though. You don't want him to give away anything. But I
I
think
mean,
okay.
let's
But
face it,
that's a good
everyone already has agreed that it's Stu in this next movie.
exactly what I said though. We're getting the two options. We're getting AI stew, like computer stew, or we're getting flashback stew. And I see that the only option. Now, there's one person missing here, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna get the announcement soon, since they're announcing all of them. But they're separating them. We have Roman back. We have
Stu
Stu.
back. So
I
you're waiting
I
for Billy.
no, I assume Billy's already signed because he was already in the last couple movies, so I assume he's just already like kind of signed. No, there's one obvious person.
Mickey.
No. There's one obvious person connected to Sydney from her past
Hold on,
who was
don't tell me.
the most intelligent.
Nancy Loomis.
I hate you. I hate your guts. No. Clearly, the amazing Emma Roberts playing Jill will be back in either AI form or flashback form. Now here's the key thing though. if she is cast, then we can assume it is not that flashback thing we were just talking about with Stu, Billy, and Roman. Then we can
Yeah,
assume it
because
is the
Emma Roberts'
why
character would have been a child at that point.
she's not going to be in the room with Bill like, yeah, let's kill Maureen. So maybe I don't think so. It doesn't seem logically possible. So if she's cast, then we know that City's going to be getting phone. There's going to be phone calls made from all the past killers, or some kind of AI thing because it can't be phone calls because it can be, but you want the phone calls mostly to be like the Roger Jackson Ghostface voice. So it's very tricky, but
Mm, I will say if they do, I feel like they need to start not releasing the cast. Let some of the cast also be. Because I don't think
surprise.
they're actually going to announce that if she's in it. So I feel like it would be a great way of giving some form of applause since part 4 is so loved. You see or hear Emma Roberts. Think about all the hype that movie's going to get from people in the audience.
But why announce any of it though? Why announce Matthew Lillard? Make it all a surprise.
Because they need to get butts in seats, and let's face it. And I've heard this on a few different places, but a lot of people do, and I kind of agree. It's damage control
Mm-hmm.
at this point. They met. Honestly, I don't think Spyglass believes they messed up with the whole thing with Melissa Barrera, but at the
Oh,
same time, they did, and they're doing something to be able to bring people back into the theater. So now you're no longer boycotting the movie because now you want to see what Stu's part in this movie is, what Roman's part in this movie is.
Yeah, you're right. If the franchise was in a great place, you could leave these as surprises. You could leave it to where, whoa, you leave that out the trailer. You don't mention the casting, and then when you see the movie, you're like, oh my god, they're bringing back all the killers. That'd be amazing on a first watch. Now it's like, yeah, it's kind of a desperate. It kind of feels like a desperate. Hey, come see our movie because all of our past people are going to be in this movie. Yeah, I think that it doesn't give me great hopes for the movie. It does feel like they're throwing a lot of stuff against the wall, and
They're hoping to
usually,
something
the,
stick.
usually the Scream movies, like they pay homage to the past, but they usually don't rely on the past like this much. So I don't know. We'll see. But looking forward to more casting news. I mean, who knows? Maybe we're gonna get Dewey's coming back, Cotton Wary. I mean, look, the one person who could still be alive is Jennifer Jolie from Part 3. Please, this makes perfect sense to me. Her death scene was so weak. It wasn't a death scene. She got stabbed once and she died instantly. Makes no sense. Just from watching that scene, she was definitely playing dead. And Parker Posey has said that she's willing to come back. That you need to do if you want to get back in the fans' goodwill. Also, we also haven't heard anything about Kirby if she's going to be in this one either, so we don't know about that either. So,
Like I said, at this point, the less I know about it, the better. Because even though I'm not a fan of what happened, I do still plan on seeing the movie. I've seen all
of
6 of
course,
them so far, so might as well.
absolutely.
But at the
Oh,
same
but
time, I feel like they just need to stop telling us the cast. They need
now
to
I know
stop
we're
telling us everything about this movie.
right, and I do think that it's gonna be tough, but I think this is gonna be one where I'm going to try to avoid the trailer altogether. Because with a Scream movie, especially, I think with every movie that comes out, the fans have taken the trailer, dissected it, and actually figured out like key parts of the movie. Because with this kind of movie, like just seeing anything, you can put together background pieces, be like, oh, they're still alive here, or that's the kill. Like, I don't want to be in that discourse this time. Um, but we'll see what happens. I probably need to go take some Robitussin because with my sinuses, pretty soon I'm about to start be sounding like Ghostface voice. So
I mean, you'd get the ladies happy.
he does have that deep voice that women like. So
Just try to sound like Mojo Jojo.
that
Same
is
voice
not
actor.
that is not Ghostface voice though at all.
No, it wasn't. I said Mojo Jojo. It is the same voice actor.
That sounded like the Sutter Kane voice.
No, he
Oh,
has a German accent, and I know for a fact I cannot do that. So
Ah, well, all right, folks. Anyways, next time we get some more Scream news, we'll be back with another reaction video of that. But until then, just remember, Stu is dead. The TV fell on his face. You saw like sparks flying. You heard the electrocution going on of his brain cells. So come on,
his brain
dead.
literally exploded in his body.
He's gone. Over with. Now, Roman, I mean, listen, a bullet to the head's pretty bad, but no, I'm just
Well,
playing. So,
just like they say in Lethal Weapon, maybe it went out his ear and didn't kill him. Even though we clearly see blood splatter from behind.
well, all right. Oh, and one thing we should mention too. We didn't touch on this, but the disappointing news that there will be no Patrick Dempsey in the new Scream movie.
Oh yeah, they
Um,
got a Patrick Dempsey, I guess, said no, or did they even ask him?
oh yeah, there was negotiations going on.
Okay. I guess they didn't
Wait,
give him the price he wanted, so I'm assuming he's not going to be that big of a character. It's just the way they're setting this up. I feel like the first kill should, in order to get Sydney to come back, should be her husband.
it's such a brutal thing though. Her husband is killed. Like, jeez.
I mean, you need the direct. It's a great way of bringing her in from the get go. That or just have the opening scene not be an opening kill, but an attack on her in general.
See, my thing is, they're saying that she has this 17-year-old daughter, but then she has 2 young kids. So my thought was, while this is all happening, I don't want the young kids to be around even. So I'm like, have the husband take the young kids and they go somewhere, and then you can explain their absence from the movie from them being there. But you don't want Ghostface attacking the house and like there's like 2 like 5-year-olds in the kitchen making peanut butter jelly sandwiches.
Oh,
That's just
I can
that would be
already
awkward for a Scream movie.
I can
So
already tell you how that script goes. So, husband's home alone. Let's say Sydney takes all their kids, decides to go somewhere for the night. Maybe like the 17-year-old got straight A's, so they decide to go get
ice
dinner.
cream,
What?
pistachio ice cream for the family.
Exactly. But the husband still has some last minute work to do. Says he'll meet them at whatever restaurant they're going to. So he's home alone when Ghostface attacks and kills him. As a message to Sydney. And then after that, the kids get, or at least the 5-year-olds, get whisked away to grandpa.
And Sydney stays
Yeah.
to fight Ghostface.
To protect her family at that point, because let's face it.
Why? Why would she go to grandpa's house either?
Again, to protect her family, because let's face it,
Wow.
most likely, I guarantee Kevin Williamson is going to set it up to where
she's not a cop. Why would she? It's like
to protect her damn family. We already saw she knows how to fight.
Why wouldn't the cops be there? Why would she have to be like?
Oh, she'll call the cops. She'll call the cops, all right, and then we're going to get officers Dylan Doe from Halloween 4 or 5.
So you're saying Sydney's gonna be basically Jamie Lee Curtis from the new Halloween trilogy?
I mean, what's stopping them at this point? I would not be surprised one bit.
Well, it is. This is Scream 30 years later, so definitely true. Okay, well, listen, we'll see. I mean, I don't know. With the Patrick Dempsey thing, it's just like don't give us that her husband's name is Mark and then not be able to bring back Kincaid.
Well, they kind of shot themselves in the foot because they needed to get Patrick Dempsey for him when I guess negotiations fails. Like shit.
Now, do they do a new character named Mark, or is this Mark Kincaid?
Yeah, the character's name is still Mark. It's just now a different Mark.
No, but could they do Mark Kincaid? Just recast Patrick Dempsey as a new person?
I don't think they're recasting him. I think it's literally just a completely different Mark.
And we never hear from Kincaid again.
They probably didn't want to recast Kincaid in the off chance that they could possibly get Patrick Dempsey back for a later sequel. So let's face it, until people literally say, "Hey, this movie is shit," they're going to continue making these movies.
He's too busy. He's gonna be busy doing Thanksgiving Part 2, anyways, probably. So,
I'm looking forward to that one. To be honest with you, more than Scream 7. I'm looking forward to Heart Eyes more than Scream 7.
Well, we'll see. I'm looking forward to the monkey more than Scream 7, the toy monkey killer. So,
It comes out this month.
All right, folks. Until next time, you guys take care.
Peace.